What? Yeah, okay.
Our enemies an opening. Shoot.
There's only one way off.
There's 6 of us, and only one of you.
There's 6 of you now.
You're a goddamn lunatic.
Oh, you just figured that out now?
They call me the Rhino.
Okay, so like, I don't even know what I'm watching right now. Because it's not Kraven. I didn't even realize this till my friend Justy mentioned it, but he doesn't even have his accent. He's not even, he doesn't even have his iconic Russian accent. Like, I don't know what about this is even recognizable as Kraven the Hunter, as a property of Spider-Man. The rhinos, like, in it, theoretically, were probably not a version that we find terribly familiar, kind of like the version we got in the Amazing Spider-Man video game, where he's just a weird man rhino. Like, why do they keep doing this? Like, I get that this was already in development when Morbius came out, but this is really like the sunk cost fallacy of superhero movies. Like, they're just all in at this point. Doesn't matter how many diminishing returns they get, or how many bad reviews or crappy bombs they put out. They keep going and trying to make more of these terrible, terrible, terrible Spider-Man spin-off movies. And it's like, what is the point? Because all you're doing is diminishing the brand. The only successful Spider-Man movies that are coming out right now, the only beloved Spider-Man movies that are coming out right now, are either made by your animation department or Marvel. And it's like, or at least largely by Marvel. And it's like, why are you even doing this? Why can't you just be happy with the billions of dollars that you're making from the MCU Spider-Man movies? And Spider-Verse. I don't know why they feel this incessant need to pump out crappy Spider-Man villain movie after crappy Spider-Man villain movie. The fact that we live in a world where at least somebody on the executive level at Sony thinks that they're making an El Mordo movie that will never happen is wild to me. Like, the amount of creative bankruptcy and desperation leaking, spewing out of every orifice of every Sony executive is unimaginable. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. This whole trailer is just a bunch of nonsense. The powers look egregious. The CGI is just bad. Like, it looks like terrible green screen. I don't know what it is I'm even looking at. It's totally unrecognizable as the character of Kraven, both visually, auditorily, and creatively. Aside from that one fursuit I'm sure he'll be wearing for 15 minutes at the end of the film, and we'll just never see it again. This is beyond egregious. I didn't know desperation could go this low. I didn't know the depths of human depravity that we could trench to in the pursuit of money. Slavery, the Holocaust, all of these things, terribly depraved. Terrorism. But this might be worse. This is like Spider-Man 9/11. Like, excuse the rushed, impromptu, Jamie Dodger nomming nature of this video, but it's like, this is unscripted. This is just like the stream of consciousness. My friend Jesse said, and this is true, and this is what every one of these terrible Sony movies has felt like. It feels like an old comic book movie. It's like totally of a different era. This is the pre-MCU, like Daredevil, Elektra type comic book movie you expect, where it barely recognizes, or it's barely recognizable as the source material it's attempting to adapt. And it's such a rush job done by people, studio executives, who clearly don't care beyond having IP, that it comes off as just the most cynical piece of garbage. I mean, like, this whole movie, this and Morbius before it, is the cinematic equivalent of digging through your trash bin to see what it is you can salvage. The more you make these terrible movies, these terrible Spider-Man spin-offs, the more you diminish the brand, right? So, people went to see Venom. It made like $800 million. A massive movie. Venom did financially awesome, but critically, it was middling at best, right? And then you have Venom 2, Let There Be More Venoms, and that movie's terrible. Nobody liked it. I don't think it made all that much compared to the first one. I could be wrong. But what it definitely did is diminish the brand, because fans didn't like it, general audiences didn't like it, and critics definitely didn't like it. So you get one okay movie, and one like borderline atrocious film, and then you come out with Morbius, another like god-awful, unforgivable piece of cinematic heresy. And what happens after you release Morbius and then re-release it because you think that the internet cares, because you're so stupid and unself-aware that you think that the meme of your movie is somehow an admiration of your film, despite the fact that the meme is based off the idea that nobody on the planet saw your film? Like, the joke behind, and I know I'm killing it deader than it already was, but the joke behind the Morbius meme was that you could say anything happened in the movie and nobody could call you out on it because 5 people saw it, and I was one of those 5 people. I saw it. I think I saw it twice, so I'm 2 of those 5 people, right? And Sony's like, "Oh, people must really love this film. I reckon we could make 500 of these because it's the biggest meme in the world right now. It's the biggest thing on the internet." And they don't seem to understand the difference between like praise and.
Get right in the water. Stop diving into the float with. Get ready. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, jump. Hold it. No. Oh, you like? Go in. Put him in. Go.
Like, the joke was, nobody saw it, and nobody cared to see it. So, what do you do after this incredible bomb of a film? Probably the only film in history to bomb twice at box office. What do you do after that release? You say, you know, not only are we doubling down on this, we're actually going to make El Muerto an even more obscure, like, surface level, nothing character who appeared in one story in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, covering 2 issues ever in 2007, and he never appeared again. 2 issues, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, a B title, a C title, really. 2 issues, 1 story. He doesn't even defeat his villain. Spider-Man beats up El Diablo, I think was the name of the character who's trying to punch El Muerto real good so that it smarts just a whole bunch. And he doesn't even fight the guy himself. Spider-Man fights him. And so, like, why are you insisting? Why are you doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on this thing that is, not only is it not making money, not only is it actively losing money in the case of Morbius and almost certainly in the case of Kraven, but more widely, it's losing you money in that you're diminishing the brand. Like, every time you put out one of these crappy Spider-Man spin-off movies, you decrease your ability to, like, make a compelling argument to see any Spider-Man movies in the future that you might actually have a reason to make, you might actually feel like some degree of artistic intent for. It's just like, it's total nonsense. And now you have this Madam Web movie coming out. You have this El Mordo movie coming out. I think they're still working on a Jackpot thing, who's like a nothing character who appears in like 20 issues of Spider-Man, maybe ever, and dies within the year she's introduced. I don't even, like,